Yeah, man, good. Live and direct, man.
Yeah. We're live. Another adventure of Lightwalkers. How you doing tonight there, Lion?
Everything all right, man.
I'll give a blessing to this El Santo wood, the holy wood. Holy wood. We like to do stuff with sage a lot of times. I like to use this too. Give a nice blessing for the sick, those that are sick, mentally, physically, emotionally. We give a prayer for them. We give a prayer for those that locked down, that they find peace. We give a prayer for those that are out in the streets with nowhere to go, that they find shelter. And for all my light walkers out there, a special blessing of the paleo wood for you. Ha ha! Ah, smell the pheasant feather right there. It's the pheasant feather.
Oh, turkey feather, turkey feather.
Look
Straight
at that.
from the wild turkeys here in Miller, Indiana, man.
You know, I usually have the hawk feathers.
Yeah, straight up,
But
man.
today we're going to use the turkey feather.
That's all right, man. Good season for it, man, you know.
This Light Walkers, brought to you by those that walk in the light and Ancient Mystics, all natural products. Remember, check us out on Instagram at Ancient Mystics, Ancient_Mystic_Inc. Y'all know how to find us. And what we got going? What's on the topic tonight? Let's have a couple topics tonight. Since this is our weekly live, you know what I'm saying? We don't be on that long, so you know we're waiting on people to come aboard. What are we talking about? Give us something to talk about. You talk about something. You started off.
We're gonna dive into spirits and how they affect the conscious and the subconscious mind. And we ain't just talking about spirits like ghosts and stuff like that. We're talking about energy spirits, man, things that operate in the different dimensions, man. These things, you know, have an effect on our mood, on our emotions. You know, some of us we don't even recognize it because of there's a lot of planetary alignments going on. There's things going on with the sun and all these things have effect on us, and all these things open up the gateway between us and the spiritual world, man. So it's a very deep piece of work, man. So we're gonna dive in a little bit on that today, man, and how that affects us consciously and subconsciously throughout our daily expeditions, man. You know what I'm saying?
Light walkers.
Yeah,
those that walk in the light.
Give thanks for everybody tuning in, man. I see we got about 5 viewers right now, man. Enough respect for everybody tuning in tonight, man. This is Virgin Chris Lyon.
Lord Cassius D.
Yeah, man, and we always give thanks, man, for y'all tuning in to get your weekly dose of knowledge and wisdom, man, to help fight the battle out there, man. All the time.
You know, see, it seems like since the post-pandemic, the spirit of people has really changed.
Yeah,
have you noticed that?
That's something that's been on my mind, man, because I've noticed that things have gotten so much more divided, man. You know, everybody is very apprehensive when they come around you, man. Their spirits are shaking up. Granted, everybody's going through something in their life, but there's something about this particular point in time, man, where everybody is just shaking up. Everybody is apprehensive. They don't want to deal with nobody, man. They don't want to listen, man. They don't want to critical think.
And you know, and it's funny when you mention that because the attention span is even shorter.
Yo, straight up, man.
The attention span is real short. It's shorter than it's ever been on the planet, so-called Earth. I want to say that. I think it's safe for me to say that.
I truly believe in that, man. The reason I say that is because I see how long this quarantine has went on and how it has affected us, consciously, man. Everybody is on their phones all the time. You know what I mean? Everybody is constantly scrolling. And if you know anything about the cell phones and the scrolling and stuff like that, or things like TikTok or Snapchat, where everything is very quick. You know, it's never a long podcast like we do, and it's a very quick video. And these things spur the dopamine release coming throughout the body, man. So it gives you them quick bursts of dopamine, kind of like taking a drug, man. Kind of like if you're taking cocaine or something like an upper like that. It gives you that quick fulfillment, man. And everybody keep craving that. And that's why everybody look down so much nowadays.
Yeah, man. And you know, and it seemed like after the pandemic, ain't nobody got no patience.
Oh, man.
The patience and attention span has became so short.
I credit it to that as well, man.
And you know, something else I started seeing after we rebooted into the world, I started seeing a lot of man versus woman stuff now.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, if I go on YouTube and stuff, it's all this stuff about men versus the women and the women versus the men and where's society headed with this? Are we going to be familyless? Because that's the way it sounds like. We ain't going to have no families in a minute the way they doing stuff.
I truly believe in that, man. I think that's the way of the future, man. I think this is kind of a derivative or something that's based upon how kind of Mandarin or Chinese society is set up, you know, where they have laws of how many children you could have and how the house, they have status.
You think
oh, I truly think we are headed that direction. Maybe in a different light because America is a giant experiment and we operate different than every other country in the world and every other type of peoples. I think we're headed in a direction. And the reason I say that is because of the division that's being promoted, and the way that that sexuality is being changed up, and our own identities are changed up. We no longer come to Earth as a man or a woman. We come together. Exactly, man. It becomes all these different terminologies for identifying this.
It's sad to say. I'm glad I lived in a time when fun was fun and things were still kind of real. I'm glad I got a chance to see it. I feel for a lot of young people that never got a chance to eat real food other than GMO or to see real things. And the time we're living in, everything is fabricated and perverted.
Straight up, brother.
I ain't never seen nothing like this.
This is why I say, man. There's been such division promoted, and the reason that is because we see the way that man looks at woman or woman looks at man. There's no more of that family structure like you talk about, man. I look back at my grandparents, man. My grandparents were together for 30 plus years. Some of them went on to live their lives until their loved one or significant other died. You know what I'm saying? They were able to make that work. Everybody was able to come together for the common cause, man. But now it's such a broken world, man, where everybody has lost direction, man. Nobody knows which way they're going, which way is left, which way is right. Whole lot of confusion spurred from this, and it's because of the perversion that we see in things, and the thing that controls our minds throughout the whole entire world, which is the entertainment industry, man, the music and the media that we see constantly, man. The stuff fluctuates. All we hear is, things talking trash about the woman. All we think is hear about things talking trash about the man. We see all these Tyler Perry movies where there's all this divorce and deception going on, man. Yeah. And when I watch these things, that kind of stuff upsets me. I'm like, man, what am I watching this for? Let me turn the channel on this, man. What's this promoting in my brain?
It's deep you talk about the movies because I grew up in a time in horror movies when a horror movie was a horror movie.
Oh, straight
when
up.
Jason would chase you and you would run, you'd be an hour away from him, hiding in the refrigerator somewhere.
Straight up.
And he still came and found you.
It'll scare you. It's spooky, man.
The hardest thing was the music they had with it. But it was the movies were called slashers then. Because they were based on young people, teenagers getting slashed, blood and gore. That's what we call it, horror.
Absolutely.
The movies we watch today is demonic. That's not horror anymore. That's demonic.
Why you say that?
There's so much computer generated stuff on it, and it's made to be demonic. You ever see how people bend back and they got this one movie called Smile. Man.
Smile.
Yeah, the thing look at you and smile, the head break off and they walking backwards and climbing at the TV, and they got movies like that everywhere. And a lot of Japanese movies come like that, the zombie movies, a lot of stuff it's demonic. A zombie movie is not horror. It's demonic.
It's demonic, man. There's a spirit or an entity involved in that.
Yeah, because the zombies are the entity.
I want to ask you a quick question, bro, since we're on this topic right now. You ever seen a movie called Lucifer Rising?
Yeah.
Okay, this one was created by somebody that had close ties to Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin, man.
That's a deep connection.
Absolutely, man. And Jimmy Page was tied to all this Thalimism and practicing Aleister Crowley. Even back in the late 70s, going into the 80s, he bought the Berkshire House, which is right on Loch Ness. You know where they talk about the Loch Ness
Monster, yeah.
Loch Ness. And this was Aleister Crowley's old house, and he was said to have done a whole bunch of rituals and this stuff. And there was a time where they were so jacked up on different drugs and going hard into the opening of these gateways and shit.
Well, drugs go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hunt mushrooms. We hunt mushrooms.
Yeah, straight up.
So, in foraging for the shrooms and the fungi, back in the day, they had a whole culture like that.
Yeah.
That was based off of hallucination.
Exactly.
Mushroom, I used to call them mushroom hats when I was studying. They were Kabbalist Jews, actually. That were these big crowns. They were like mushrooms.
Aleister Crowley wore similar hats.
It was all based off the alchemy of the drugs. That's why they tell you that most drugs are gateways. A gateway to what? See, when they say a gateway drug, what is it a gateway?
Absolutely. They never describe. They never go further on it.
It's a gateway to dimensions of spirit.
Exactly, man.
Alcohol is a gateway to the dimension of spirit.
Straight up. As soon as you take a sip, man, you feel the difference, man. You feel the change in the
You're already in what they call possession.
You start to think a little bit different, man.
Yep, you're already in a possession.
Straight up.
You possess.
If we look at word sound power, we look at the word alcohol. Where does it come from? It comes from an ancient Arabic word, alcohol.
Alcohol, break it down.
Absolutely, man. And this changes into an English interpretation of spirit, which is what we're drinking. We call them spirits, right? Things like alcohol, different alcohols we drink, they're called spirits, man. So like I said, the English language is a very special language, and when we think about Kabbalism and word sound power and how these words are put together, the English language is very notorious for that. They put different words together in order to project these vibrations onto people, and these hit us subconsciously, man.
Yeah, that's why it's important that y'all do the knowledge out there. Y'all gotta do the knowledge. Gotta do the knowledge. Man, factology versus belief. Remember, you heard that on Lightwalkers. Factology versus belief. Do the knowledge. So you can know what you're dealing with. You can know who you're messing with out there. You can know the people that surround you. And you can keep yourself out of situations. Everybody always says a solution to the problem. Do the knowledge.
That's it, man. That's the greatest.
Do the history and the science of it so you know what you're walking into.
Straight up.
Let's go to a movie. Remember the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes?
Oh, Blade, yeah, okay.
Do you remember the scene where the guy, it came on, the guy went to a party. It was like a rave party, a techno party. It was dancing. Yeah. And he went in the party wandering. He wandered in the party. He didn't do his homework and look at the people and how they look. He just wandered in the party. He probably was wandering in there sexually, looking for women. You know what I'm saying? Looking for drugs. And in the party, he dancing. And he started noticing how the people started shifting. And then they cut the sprinklers on and the blood came down. Remember, the blood came down with vampires. And the blood came down. And they started feasting on those that had wandered into the party. And that's what's happening in modern day time. We wandering into the party. That's why when we wander in, we're not paying attention to the people standing along the walls and the people dancing. Look at the expressions on their face. What kind of spell are they under? This is why we go into parties and they shoot the party up and we wind up getting shot.
Real talk. What kind of vibration is being pumped out through them woofers, man? Them subwoofers, man. Them big speakers.
Come on. If you look at drill music is a spirit.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the videos of how they look?
I seen the one video you showed with that little demon in the quick flash.
Oh, that was deep.
That was a spooky one, man.
Only way we got to show the people that when we come with Lightwalkers, Night Vision. That's a new show that we got. That's gonna be part of Lightwalkers, but you'll be able to catch us on Patreon for that.
Yeah, there you go, man.
But we're gonna show a lot of those images and stuff like that. But that's deep because I caught that on a flash.
You just happened to see it, watching the video.
I'm filming. I'm
only
making the video.
You was in tune, brother.
Yeah, and I happened to see it, and I bagged it up. I said, "What? What is this?" And it was so quick of an eye. It was like 3,000 seconds in your eye. Just like quick.
A quick frame.
It jumped out at you like this, like a monster.
Straight up. When you paused that, it was so spooky to see that. I was like, man, you must have ripped this off the internet. You're like, caught this live and direct, man. And just to look at how it was, man, it was like one of them evil looking zombies in the movies, man. One of them spirits, in a sense, man. Coming through the screen, man. And it gets you because these things flash so quick, man. And these are the most effective ways of manipulating the mind. Back to the days of the Tavistock Institute, which is still up in effect. They are based on programming television sets.
Say that again, so the people out there can hear us. What did you just say? Do the knowledge. We're doing the knowledge now.
We'll talk about the Tavistock Institute. And this is a big corporation, an institute that's based out of England, man. And what they do, they are based upon creating these particular frameworks inside of the television shows or commercials, man, that have these quick flashes of color, things like red, green, and blue. And all these things start to affect our subconscious, our emotions, the way that we interpret things. It's a manipulation of the mind. And this is part of the programming when the invention of televisions came around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is an institute that is still in the works today. This is not hidden knowledge. It's not occult secret knowledge, man. This is stuff that's out there for y'all to research, man.
Well, they plugged in with Hollywood.
Straight
or Hollywood. Now, one of the first movies they started really using this tool, Walt Disney was developing a lot of that stuff.
Straight up.
Because you had to study who he was.
Yeah.
He was deep.
That's
so we're going to have a whole show on some of the 5 basic satanic principles of man that was on the planet. That's a whole nother show.
Understood.
All right? But the 5 satanic principles of man. which were 5 human beings at one time that all were doing stuff in what we call modern social engineering. They was TV was one of them.
Absolutely.
In the movie The Exorcist, the first Exorcist, the original one. Now that was one of the movies they used what they call movie magic. Movie magic was. Now you remember we always talk about music masking when they hide the subliminal images underneath the track. Usually when you play it backwards, you can hear the spin backwards of 45 or 43 RPs. You hear the spin back, and it'll say something else than what it was saying going forward. Usually be a message to Satan. Now people say, man, that's all made up. No, that's for real. I did it at a college one time. I was doing a lecture. This was in the 90s. Now I've been talking about this stuff since the 90s. Ooh. So I did it at a lecture. And people run me up out it. Told me they were scared of me. They didn't want me to come back. But this movie masking is another thing. The movie magic. This is where they put words like scream, holler, jump, flinch. All of these things are done in 33 thousandths of a second.
Absolutely, brother.
To the naked eye.
You don't even see it.
You don't see it. But you sure jump your ass up in the show when you saw it.
Real talk.
You sure jump up and holler. They say after the movie The Exorcist, everybody that left there, people were throwing up.
Straight up, man.
A couple of people had heart attacks that saw it. Richard Pryor said him and Paul Mooney went away, was scared to death.
Oh, you understand? Trust and believe, man. All my family members talk about it the first time.
Yeah, The Exorcist was something deep. That was a deep movie.
Straight up.
That was a real deep one.
There's a lot of movies that use this electrical magic, man. And I say electrical magic because these are electromagnetic frequencies that are being pumped out through the energy circuits, man. Things we have everything plugged up into the computer and it's all hooked up to a grid. You know what I'm saying? So these things get pumped out worldwide. I say this again because the movie Lucifer Rising was a movie directed about a ritual, a big thelemic ritual based upon a lot of occultist knowledge and different what they call sigils, which is what we consider symbols nowadays, but they were called sigils.
Yeah.
And you see these, it's like what you got on your chest right here, man. You got the triangle. That's a sigil right there.
Yeah.
And these things could be used to program good and evil things. So when you have these rituals programmed into movies and masses of people are watching them worldwide, this is a ritual going on for the programming.
All right, okay. Now, since we're talking about that, let's jump modern time. So when we're watching digital television, we're under a digital signal, and we're watching stuff like Love and Hip Hop, Housewives to Atlanta. Is that some movie magic on that? Is that magic on that? Because it seems to be shaping the attitudes and the emotional senses of women, especially. They really program in it.
Straight up. That's man. I hear so many women talking about
Lightwalkers, y'all. This is the Lightwalkers podcast.
Yeah,
join us. Somebody join us. Come aboard with us. Let's do the knowledge. Leave some comments. Don't forget to hit the Cash App too. But leave some comments and join us in this discussion, this conversation.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
Dive in deep, man.
Because I see all the women. It's like a programming.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, a programming.
Absolutely.
And it's this subliminal warfare. Is that safe to call it?
Yeah, I agree.
We call it subliminal warfare. Is damaging us emotionally.
Oh man, heavily, my brethren. I think it's such a wicked spell that's being cast about to the people because now you see the way that we're pitted against each other. What does love and hip hop and things like these show all the time? They show a bunch of calamity and rift between man and woman. There's always this headbutting and stuff going on. There's this plastic lifestyle. Everybody wants to wear all these expensive name brand clothes and live in the biggest mansion. This, that, and the other. They make it seem like life is such a artificial or plastic design. You know what I mean?
And now you hear all the shows now that talking about. See, we what 10 years into Love and Hip Hop? 10, maybe 12 years into it. And all the YouTube channels now is about now trying to keep up with the Joneses, having the expensive stuff. Man. You ain't no real man if you ain't got 6 figures. You ain't no real man. You know what I'm saying? They broke us down alpha, beta, gammas, and all kind of other shit instead of just being a man. And then now it's the woman versus the man. And then here's a word we're using. This word was never used 20 years ago. You barely heard it. And the only way you heard this word was you heard it from people that were super educated. It was not a common word. Narcissist.
Man, that word is coming so. I heard this years ago, man. About 10 years ago, man. I heard that shit start coming into wave,
Yeah,
man.
narcissists. Now everything is narcissist. And now people don't understand in a narcissistic view, that's a demon.
Straight up, man. Come on, man. People are
A
lacking in
narcissist is a
knowledge,
demon.
man.
A narcissist has an evil possession.
Absolutely.
Because if you break down what a narcissist really is, you see, a narcissist is not for the good of you. A narcissist is something like a parasite.
Yes, very
And they
selfish,
seduce
man.
you. He or she. It can be he or she. It ain't just no man.
Absolutely.
It could be a woman too.
This is almost like what they say about Lucifer. That Lucifer was very selfish, man. You know what I'm saying? Very egotistical about his way. It's his way or the highway, man. You know, sometimes we find ourselves getting into mind state like this, man. The spirit trying to creep in through the cracks, man. You know, and it's very deep like that. I always wonder if those two things are associated. The word narcissist and Lucifer, man.
Yeah. When you say Lucifer, I like to call him Samazel.
There we go. I'm trying to think of the name.
Samazel was very narcissistic. Was jealous of mankind according to the story. Looked at man and said, "What? You gonna give him what? He gonna do what? No, he ain't. We're gonna seduce man." Now, who does seduction? A woman. A woman is usually the master seducer.
Straight up, man. That's the dualism to Samazel, man. You know what I'm saying? You have the
feminine energy.
You have the masculine and feminine.
Now you look at the feminine energy that's being pumped out in love and hip hop. That's feminine energy. They got the guys on there in a feminine state of mind.
Straight up.
That's all feminine.
Straight up.
They on there fighting. The men ain't nothing. They just some pretty something. Now, when another man look at you, no homo, gotta say that.
Yeah, homo still gotta make it known.
And they say you pretty, gotta say something. Look, boy, I saw little boy, that's he so pretty. He was. He had the little bangs and stuff. And he was standing there with his mama. I didn't know if that was her sister or a boy. You know? These type of energies off of shows like that create this. Let's go to another one. Hood movies. They've been having a string of hood movies for the last 15 years.
What's a hood movie to you, man?
A hood movie to me is all the movies that deal with selling dope, guns, killing each other, and getting a record deal. That's the hood movie. Every one of them got the same plot.
Wow.
We selling dope. We'll kill your ass, and we're going after the record deal.
That's a hell of a criteria.
And it's over and over and over and over. And these are movies that get on.
Straight up.
And they flooded the internet with them.
Oh,
if you go to Netflix carry a lot of this stuff. They didn't used to carry this.
Real talk.
YouTube had them. YouTube originally had those movies.
I remember now thinking back.
Now all those movies are on major networks.
Man.
Hulu, Netflix.
Totally accessible, man.
Tubi, all that. They got a whole section of it on Star.
Anybody can watch it, man.
And all of them are based on the same thing.
Straight up, same concept.
Black Death. Now, are these demons? Are they unleashing demon spirits on us with these movies? This is something I'm asking y'all out there. If y'all out there listening to us, we leave it in the comment section or whatever. Are they releasing spirits on us through these type of movies, through these type of TV shows? We talked about the old era with the Exorcist and the Lucifer movies and Ring and all the movies that came like that with the first stages of movie magic on them. Now this new era, is this movie magic? That's a question I'm asking. Is it a new form of what they call mass hypnotic social programming? I heard that for me. Mass hypnotic social programming. What's going to happen to us in 10 years? And when I say us, I'm not only speaking for the black race, I'm speaking for all the races, because this is flowing everywhere. This is just not in the black community. It's the black death from the black community that's being promoted to white communities, to the Hispanic or Mexican, Latino community. It's being promoted to the Chinese. It's being promoted to Africans. It's being promoted to India. It's being promoted all over the so-called planet Earth.
Okay, I got to pose a question here, man, because this makes me think back to a conversation you and I had a while back, and it happened to do with the spell being broken. When from the Ku Klux spell that was broken. What bridge was it on, man?
Edmund Peterson, Selma to Montgomery, Martin Luther King to March.
Okay, so if the spell was broken, then was the spell redone?
No, you're under something different. Magic, those type of magics come in cauldrons. Cauldrons are witches. Now, the word witch, we all know means wise woman.
True.
That's the meaning of it. That's what it comes from. But these cauldrons are warlocks and demon masters and soothsayers. Ku Klux Klan that you know of. That's what we're talking about now, right? We're going to dive into that spirit. That's where you want to go with it?
Yeah, because I think it's tied into everything we're talking
about.
The
Ku Klux Klan was created in 1874 in Pulaski, Tennessee.
Not too far south.
It was created by Albert Pike,
straight up,
who was the Grand Master Mason for North America.
Straight up.
Broke the Master's carpet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a couple of other dogmas of Freemasonry and a couple of other things.
Now that's Scottish Rite, correct?
No, York.
York Rite Masons.
York, who New York is named after.
Okay.
And another Confederate, I don't know if it's General, Colonel, whatever the fuck, or whatever they are.
Well, I know.
Nathan Bedford
Forrest. Oh, wow. Albert Pike was also a Confederate general in the war as well.
Okay. When they unleashed Ku Klux, Ku Klux was a spell. The word Ku Klux is Greek. It means a circle and a circle. But the circle never breaks. It's a totally revolving like a funnel going down.
Like a spiral?
Yeah. So when they say Ku Klux, most of us, when we talk like that, we only see the Knight Rider with the white sheet on, riding. Yeah, they say that was the ghost of the Confederate soldiers coming to keep peace, keep the order.
That's what they say, right?
Ku Klux was bigger than that. Ku Klux was a supernatural thing. It spread through government. It created Jim Crow. Jim Crow was a law that was created over a character that they created called Jim Crow.
Wow.
Like a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Now, when I say this, people don't understand. Yeah, it was legislation and laws and all that, but it was a character that was created, like a symbol.
Yeah, a sigil, man.
Like a sigil. Called Jim Crow.
Ooh, this is deep right here, brother.
Now, Ku Klux, the circle inside of a circle, it grew through government. It grew through religion.
Oh,
it governed every principle and dogma of man.
Wow.
It was so powerful that for 100 years, they lynched, burned, and killed black people.
Straight up. Wicked, man.
And nobody was ever charged for a crime.
Never.
They had whole things like they looked like baseball games you were going to after church. The burning and lynching of Jesse Washington. After on a Sunday afternoon, 15,000 people gathered. I think it was in Tennessee. They set him on fire and they sat around and ate sandwiches.
What a ritual, man.
And smelt the burning flesh and took souvenirs of his body parts before they set him on fire.
Wow.
Then they hung the body up and took pictures of it and made postcards with a Polaroid image. That's a whole nother lecture too, with a Polaroid, what a picture is. Ku Klux had got so big. Notice I didn't say the Ku Klux Klan, I said Ku Klux. Ku Klux got so big that it marched on Washington in 1920. The biggest march on Washington since the Million Man March by Louis Farrakhan was the Ku Klux March. You go look this up.
Real talk.
This ain't, y'all do the information. Y'all do the knowledge. Go look this stuff up.
Check it out.
This on YouTube. Everything I'm talking is HIV. I got HIV, y'all. I ain't talking about no disease either. I'm talking about I have my information verified. I'm going to say that again. Have my information verified. That means I studied. Go look it up. When Dr. King came along, Dr. King had a strategy. The strategy was called nonviolent direct confrontation. Meaning we wasn't going to swing, we wasn't going to swing at you, we wasn't going to hit you, we wasn't going to fight you, but we wasn't going to go nowhere either. He let the world see it. The first time when they went across that bridge, the Ku Klux, those that were practicing that science, they got together, the governor and everybody. They put the police, every police they can find. They had every cracker that they could line up with a gun. They had the fire department out there with the hoses. They had everything that they could put on you.
Getting down on the bridge, man.
They had everything that they could put on you. Everything. And when they went across the first time, Dr. King didn't go. He was instructed not to go. He wanted to go, but they instructed him, no, man, you can't go. They sent John Lewis across, Congressman John Lewis. He went across. He led it. Him and Ralph Abernathy was there. And they got shit beat out of them.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Man, listen. One of the most chilling pictures of the Edmund Peterson Bridge thing was they got a picture about a piece of video. This guy run up on this old lady. She had to be about 75 years old, man. Somebody grandmama. And he hit her in the head with a bat.
Oh, that's that picture. You see the man just
yeah. Like this, okay. When the world saw what went down, the world activated against it. They said, and here's something strange. It was the white woman who made the man get on his ass and do that. The president's wife, you're going to sign civil rights. She said it. Ooh. White women all across the world said, look, they're doing that to them people.
They jumped on board real quick.
They was at the man. All of a sudden, all the planes, people jumped on planes from Greece, from China, from Africa. They don't tell you that. And they came and they marched to break the spell. The second time they went, they got to the end of the bridge, and Dr. King turned it around.
Wow.
The last time they went, they walked all the way to the Capitol.
They went 3 times?
Yeah. First time was a beating. Second time, they came almost to the end of the bridge, and Dr. King turned it around. Wow. And everybody was marching. All races was with it. The next time they came, it had picked up so much momentum, they walked all the way to the Capitol. They crossed. Wasn't no police out there. Wasn't no nothing. Yeah, they said, hey, man, that's when you knew the spell of Ku Klux was broken.
Yeah.
They started trying people for the murders of black people after that. All the murders that was stopped. The Cheney murders with the 2 guys, the Jewish guys and the black dude. Emmett Till case. All of the people started getting going on court. They used to go to court. The lynch mob would drag you out of court and take you down there and string you up, shoot you to death, and all kind of other atrocities to your body. So Ku Klux was a magic, a deal of magic.
Sure.
It exists still today.
I believe it. Seems like it's coming back in a sense.
Man. It ain't never went nowhere. It's splintered into little, like they like to call hate groups. Aryan Brotherhood, this, that, the White Citizens Council.
And these guys bang against each other, man, which is even more.
Exactly, because it's the poor. They're poor. Their biggest fight is not the racists, it's the government.
Straight up, man.
That's what they talk.
Who is in control of it, man?
But Ku Klux got another rise. The South controlled that. Another group came back after World War II. And they were Nazis.
Neo-Nazi cats, man.
Now, the neo-Nazi movement was born out of the redneck and the war baby.
Wow.
And put the Ku Klux with the Nazism. And Nazism is based off of Adolf Hitler's book, Mein Kampf.
Yeah, man. Straight up, man. That speaks of like the empowerment of, the empowerment of the white race, correct?
Not even the white race. supreme race.
The supreme race.
Now, here's some people don't talk about. Japanese said that they were the supreme race. They joined World War II with Adolf Hitler to take the world.
Wow. That was their involvement in it then, huh? I thought it was some type of grudge against the United States or so.
No, the Emperor and Tojo. They got together and they got with Adolf Hitler. That's why if you ever look, the supremacy sign is the sun and the rays.
Yeah.
The Japanese had a sun on their flag like that.
Yeah, most
They added that there as the supremacist race. See, so you get the mix of Nazi, neo-Nazi fascism, and Klanism together. That's what make up the new Klan in America. Man. And it's still a spell. And guess what? It's bagged by music. Grunge, acid rock, punk rock.
Wow.
Those are the music. If you go to those type of clubs, and the type of people you find.
Yeah, you always see the cats with the big combat boots.
Now, wait a minute. That's the skinheads. The original skinheads were black. Come out of London, England, out of Liverpool.
Yeah, I very vaguely know about that. Okay, understood.
That was a movement, punk movement.
Yeah, man.
And it was taken over by Fascio or Fascimo.
Wow, man. This is like right around the time reggae was starting to become big out that way. Huh?
Exactly.
Okay, understood.
Exactly.
This is all three of the cultures combined.
Yeah. Wow. So that's the magic. You see, let's go. You want to go a little deeper with the magic? Go a little deeper with the magic.
Come on with it.
The American Street Gang. Let's go into the American Street Organization. The American Street Organizations, I'm going to really talk. I'm going to focus in on Chicago.
All right. Most definitely.
Chicago is ran by two factions. The folks and the people.
The peoples, man.
Okay? The people is the 5-point star, love, peace, justice, truth, and freedom. The folks is the 6-point star, love, life, loyalty, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Understood.
All right. If you look at the principles of those stars, what's it called? It's a symbol, but it's called, what's the real name for the symbol? It's a symbol, but it's called a sentinel. The 5-point star is the pentagram.
Straight up.
The 6-point star is the hexagram.
Yeah.
It is 6. Each one of them represents the principles of man. And the 5-point star represents the duality of man and woman.
These are old world symbols, man.
Wow. From ancient times.
Wow, man.
Ancient times. Right, hey, you want to get even deeper? They sat on some of the same pyramids in Kyoto, Japan, India, and in Africa, next to the Tallahassee, what Adolf Hitler used and called a swastika.
Straight up, brother. Wow, man. Almost like keys for the Stargate. Man.
All right. Now, you listen to the street nations. I don't like to call them gangs. You listen to the street nations. They all had principles. Love, peace, justice, truth, and freedom. That's the Moorish science temple, as they say, from the Holy People. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
but let's just look at those principles. All those principles are positive, right?
Yeah.
The folks had love, life, loyalty, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
They all sound like
all of those things were positive.
Straight up.
An upliftment of humanity. But once the secondary symbols were laid to them, the folks added a pitchfork.
Man, yeah.
Now let's go to the history.
When did the pitchforks start?
Yeah, so go
all right, go
ahead.
Don't
ask the question, because I like to hear the whole question. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I think we and everybody else want to know when did the pitchfork symbol come in? What point in time?
The pitchfork symbol is a symbol from Greece. It was a symbol that was created in Greek mythology. It's called a triad.
Okay, like Poseidon.
Yeah. It is also the symbol for naval intelligence.
Naval intelligence?
Which is the highest form of warfare in the military.
Straight up, brother.
It is a symbol that represents the triad, the trinity of duality, the trinity of magic in a dual person. That means when Poseidon used it, he came to the earth from the water. And when he waved it, he went from being a monster, what he was, what he looked like, into a human. That's why when you see the Greek gods, gods, they all have human bodies or human attributes.
Real talk.
That was how Poseidon came. You see? When this symbol, it represented the illusion, the great illusion. When they added it to the 6-point star, all the points became illusions. Instead of for the upliftment of humanity, they actually represented the downfall of humanity. Because everybody that joined it walked to the penitentiary, to the graveyard. Nothing came out of it successfully in name. But his principle said love, life, loyalty, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Wow.
But nothing came out of it.
No, it's a perversion.
Ain't that deep? That's a perversion. Same with the 5-point. Every street nation they use it, they added a cross with sun rays coming from it, which is another esoterical symbol.
Yeah, about the same, man.
The ancient symbol that come out of Baal worship, actually, or Baal worship.
I've seen that in the Freemason.
The Freemasonry took that from Baal worship. They adapted and incorporated the sign. It also represented the cross with the rays coming off of it, like these little marks, represented the spear of Constantine.
Wow, man.
Or the symbol of Tua, which you call the cross, which was the god Tammuz. And he was the son of Nimrod, who was, according to the story, was a king after the flood, the great flood.
Sure, man.
So now, they got all these symbols running through, these sub-symbols, running through these pentacles of magic. Pentagram, hexagram, pentacles of magic.
These are sacred geometrical shapes.
And they all become corrupt. And no good ever comes from it. I don't care what they try to use with it. The symbols have no good to it.
So when did we see the pitchfork coming in? Was this in like the 70s or the 80s, or was it something that was adopted at the genesis of the creation?
I think that was made up in Stateville Penitentiary by some of the head leaders of the black disciples. Wow. And before they was the gangster disciples. And all of it was incorporated. You call it the Star of David. Because David Barksdale was the leader of the disciples at that time. But it's actually called the hexagram, representing man. Man has 2 heads. He has the metaphysic and the reproductive. And he's arm, leg, arm, a head, both heads. Same with the 5-point star. But it also represents the head of man, which is woman. She was first. Womb. The womb. That's why the 5-point star is a pentagram with the bottom is inverted.
Wow, that's deep right there. You just put things into perspective, man.
That's why it's inverted. Look at it. So all of these symbols of this alchemy of magic is used in the street organization.
Real talk.
It's used on TV. Oh. UPN. They said UPN. It used to come up UPN, a network. UPN stood for complete energy, time, and space. The doors to the Hebrew Lodge.
Wow, man.
And the Kabbalah's our religion. See, I've been so bad that the Hebrews don't teach that. They teach all this 12-tribe thing and not the sciences and symbols and the mythology magic of the Hebrew Lodge and where it comes from in the Kabbalah and the tree of life.
Real talk.
They don't talk that.
They don't talk none of that stuff, man.
They talk angry about some tribes.
And that's look, we always constantly speaking of the problem, man, and these are solutions we're putting out here right now. Overstanding, do the knowledge, man.
Now you know we always talk about the singing wars, the Crusades, 2,000-year wars between the Muslims, the Christians, and the Hebrews.
Yeah.
But there was also a symbolic war in that. All the symbols that possess that.
I see.
Well, Bacardi and rum. I'm just gonna go there right quick. Just gonna talk about some spirits.
Yeah.
Bacardi and rum had a symbol of a circle bat, a bat with his wings open in a circle.
True, most definitely.
Okay, that represented the Hashishis or the assassins. These were the first, what you call Illuminati or the enlightened ones. They were said to get their power from Samazel.
Wow.
and Azazel.
Straight up, brother.
You see? That's where they say they got the power.
Wow, man.
It was so funny. I saw a commercial one time with Fat Joe. He had a big one on his neck like this.
I know that commercial, though.
I wonder, do he know what that was? And the Hassicians were called the Hassicians because of the hash that they smoked.
Straight up.
That would take them into a higher realm. And they smoked some good hash.
Oh, man.
See, hash you get now.
That shit watered down, brother.
Especially in America.
Straight up, man. That's stepped on one too many times for me.
Okay, but back then they had hashish. Hashish give you the word assassins.
Understood.
In Japan, they took the ice. The assassins had ice. They were called kamikaze.
Oh, wow.
And ninja. Ninja was the secret order based off of ice. When they flew the planes at Pearl Harbor, the name of the game, Tojo, told him to go, fly my son into the wind. Don't fucking come back either. Their job was to shoot all the bullets, drop all the bombs, and then fly the plane into the ship. That was honorable.
Righteous sacrifice, man.
If you came back, you committed harakah, which when you cut yourself open. But all the pilots was high off ice.
Wow.
You look at the bombings in Jerusalem, Israel, and all those places in Lebanon, and all those places that have all them suicide bombers, they're high off hashish.
I always wonder, man, what do they consume before they go into that? It's gotta be the hash and such, man.
These are the spirits.
Yeah, straight up, brother.
These are the spirits. The drugs.
The gateways, man. The gateways. They open us up to become more susceptible.
So now we see the gateways to be something we looking at, something we smell, something we hear, something we see, and also something we touch.
Hey, these things all connect to the brain.
Let's look at the touch. Denzel Washington had a movie. The movie was called Falling.
Oh, man.
In the movie, they said the name of the demon they was chasing, Azazel. He was hopping from person to person by touch. You got to watch who touches you. You got to watch who you sleep with.
That's all it takes. It's part of the magic.
Because now, if we're going to talk about touch, we're going to talk about the incubus and the succubus. The incubus be that rides the woman, and the succubus be that rides the man. It's so funny. Reebok had a shoe called the incubus.
No way.
Symbol of it and everything on there.
Real talk?
Yeah, this before Lil Nas X had the blood shoe.
Oh, wow, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Look
it up. Look it up. Reebok had a shoe called the incubus. Had a symbol on the side of it.
Straight up. And I wonder how many people were wearing that, not knowing they were participating in a ritual, man. Know what I mean? These things go on a daily basis around us, man. Some of us are willing participants, and a lot of us are unwilling participants, man.
In the 1970s, they sold us a song. It was a ritual. It ran through when TV was just going good, the color TV especially. The song was for the biggest soda pop in the world. What's that? What's the biggest?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Now, the original Coca-Cola was cocaine.
True.
Made from the coca leaf.
Yep.
When I was a kid, you drank Coca-Cola, boy, it gave you a rush. You do like this. It was a time they didn't let black people drink it at all.
Oh, wow, brother.
It was sold in every country. But the song was ritualistic to get you to program to whatever sugar, whatever they was doing with this drink. It programmed you into it. The song said, I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. It's the real thing.
Wow, man.
And everybody would be singing this. They would show people from all over the world on the commercials.
But they cracking a Coke like they cracking open a beer can.
Standing out there and they had their hands in the air. I wonder why their hands was in the air. What deity was they praying to? What was they singing to? Is they singing to this chemical that's in the Coke? Lightwalkers, talk to me. We're the Lightwalkers podcast. Talk to me. Thank y'all for joining us. And remember to hit that cash app if you like what you hear. Also, check us out on all the platforms and tell some people, put some people on here with us. We're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, man, real talk.
Now, Coca-Cola, you saw this again in the Iraqi wars. There's a story they had about Saddam Hussein had the Royal Guard. It was about 3,000-4,000 guys, and they got caught out in the desert. America played naval intelligence was the highest form of the military. Played a cruel trick on them. They this public record. This ain't no hidden stuff right here. This ain't no conspiracy.
Public knowledge, brother.
They put this out and laughed at it. They put this out and laughed at it. I saw a news reporter on TV laugh at it.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
They said they blew up all the supply lines and left them in the desert. And they got almost 5,000 of them to surrender peacefully because they didn't have nothing to eat for about 6-7 days. And here comes some Black Hawk helicopters flying over their head. And instead of shooting at them, they played the song, I like to teach the world.
No way, brother.
The Coca-Cola song. They said some of the troops said they started smelling hamburgers. French fries.
Get out of here, though.
And they were so hungry that they tied their T-shirts on the end of their guns to surrender. Almost 5,000.
Oh, my God.
I saw the news report. I saw the news report.
What a trip, man, how you can manipulate the senses like that, man.
So I'm going to ask again. On modern day television, with all these movies, hood movies, Housewives of Atlanta, love and hip hop, grew up hip hop, basketball wives and bullshit and lifestyles of the rich and stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, straight up.
Is that not a magic? Because it seems like when I can open all 5 senses, I can get to the 6th sense, ESP. I can give you what I want to and make it what I want it to be.
It opens that.
Talk to me. Let's see how to talk to me, y'all.
It's so deep,
man. In the comments about some of this good stuff.
Real talk. I'm going to chime in with myself here real quick because it brings to mind how...
And Dub, what up, man?
No,
what's going on in the brother? That's Dubby Raw. Shit, that's Dubby Raw.
Straight up, Dubby Redstone.
Yeah. Let's talk about it a little bit. Red Storm. What up, Storm? All of this alchemy that's being used in modern day movie craft. I didn't call it witchcraft. I call it movie craft.
Modern terminology.
Y'all can have my words now. These ain't my words. So you hear me get some terminology. You know our thing is called Take Notes Productions. You know what I mean? We from Take Notes Productions. So you might have to, when you start tuning into Lightwalkers, you might have to get your notebook ready. We like to drop science. You know what I'm saying? Now, this magic has infiltrated every form of life in 5G. What is 5G? Why are we in 5G technology, and what is that?
It's another level of frequency. If you ask me, man, it's the next level. You know, I guess the merger between this dimension and the next one or so. It's a trip to think about, man, because 5G is very deep, man.
Back in the 1970s, there was a group. That's before your time, man. You wasn't even thought about it.
Man, 20 years past.
You know what I'm saying? You wasn't even thought about it. You wasn't thought about y'all. You wasn't even thought about it. In the 1970s, they had begun to capitalize on a lot of the movie magic.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of that stuff was being practiced during that time.
The music and the works of television. Television, one of the greatest things they ever did in early television was the War of the Worlds. Now, the first original War of Worlds by Orson Welles. He's one of the 5 that we're gonna talk about on the next Lightwalkers. We're talking about the 5 principles of Satanism and man. We're gonna talk about 5 people: Orson Welles, Walt Disney, Thomas Edison, Aleister Crowley, You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. All follow along is the exact same lines, man, of occultic practice.
So we're going to talk about 5 of them. It's actually 7 principles, head creative principles. 5 make up the pentacle, and 2 are the horns of the goat.
Straight up. Easy.
But Orson Welles, before television, people used to sit around the radio.
Yeah.
And they would listen. And they would have programs like The Shadow Knows. Dun, 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 dun. Tune in for the next great adventure of The Shadow.
I love stuff like that, brother.
Batman and Robin was like that at first. Batman.
I dig stuff like that.
Green Hornet. It's the Green Hornet.
Oh, wow, man.
They had all kind of shows. As the World Turns, the soap opera. Margaret Days. It was good. People would sit around and do radio.
Yeah.
And Orson Welles created War of the Worlds. And it came on one day. Newsflash. The Martians have landed. Ooh, they're downtown. You heard the people scream. It was a whole studio production. Man, do you know it set off panic in the United States? It had people jam up this highway. A couple of people killed themselves trying to get out. And it was all a radio program.
Wow, man. A quick test to see if it affects the subconscious mind like so, man. Wow. I can imagine how people felt listening to something like that, you know? You don't know the difference between reality and fiction, man. What's going on, you know?
It's happening to you right now.
Real talk.
This ain't new.
Ah, straight up.
This is a continuation.
An evolution.
Let's talk hip-hop. Hip-hop was born in the 70s. Not no 80s and 90s, the 70s.
Perception, man.
I was there. That's why I can say.
You understand? Yeah, man. Don't get it twisted now.
Hip-hop was born in the 1970s. It was born after civil rights.
Yeah.
Hip-hop was born during heroin. The populated heroin epidemic.
Oh, wow.
Now, let's go before we get there. Let's go back a little bit in time. Y'all got time with me? You still got time with me? Let's go back just a little bit in time. Hip-hop in its first, heroin in its first stages was coming over through the Golden Triangle. It was the Britons and the Chinese. They had opium dens. They sit around and smoke the opium. In the 1940s, when jazz music progressed, heroin was unleashed in the streets to suppress it. To every music that brings progression, they bring depression. Remember, you under bafflement, the duality.
Duality, man.
Both hot and night cold, day and night, he and she.
Straight up.
So to every progression, there must be a depression.
This is a magic, man.
To keep it down. The high can never win. The high represents the most high. The bottom is the bottom.
The pit, man.
The perversion. So they put this heroin on the street. It took out the Billie Holidays, the Charlie Parkers. It took out the Cohen, it jammed Coltrane up. It jammed this one up. It jammed up so many jazz musicians and poets.
Wow.
And poets.
Don't forget it.
That were here to bring a new highness in the cultural sciences of humanity. That means our music was always looking for the upliftment and the education of mankind.
Straight up.
And they had to suppress it. So now when you get to rock and roll in the 1950s, you was in what they call reefer madness.
I remember the little movie they had.
Oh, they had movies. They had commercials that. Do not smoke it. It is the devil's drug.
The devil's lettuce, man.
Yeah. Reefer madness. By the time we got to 1960s and 70s, they neutralized it again. Heroin was still big. Marijuana was already in. Before 1974, they introduced in 68, 69, during the Vietnam War, they introduced heroin again.
Oh, wow.
This time, a stronger base of heroin came in. Black tar. The tar heroin was designed to neutralize black militias like the Black Panthers and the Black Liberation Army.
Oh, wow.
It was said to neutralize white government enthusiasts, government people that was against the government. It was said to neutralize them. It was flooded into the streets by a group called the Corsicans. Wow. The Corsicans made a deal with the mafia and the government.
These were Italian, brethren?
No, the Corsicans are French.
Oh, wow.
Gene Hackman had a movie back in the day called The French Connection to talk about all of that.
Okay.
The Corsicans.
Yeah, man. The French Connection.
The heroin was said to neutralize the Panthers, wipe them out. It wiped out the street gangs too.
Wow.
By 1973, most of the gangs or street nations were locked up. The heads.
Yeah, the heads, the chiefs, man.
And most of the Panthers were dead or locked up.
Damn.
Or they were heroin addicts. A lot of the gang chiefs too. All of them became heroin addicts. This slowed down the progression of the black movement and the Renaissance experience of power. It slowed it down and suppressed it. I tell people all the time, they talk about the gangs and the street nations. In 74, when they came with the Controlled Substance Act in 1974, after that, you didn't see gangs on the street. Wasn't no gangster disciples. Wasn't no vice lords on the street. We didn't talk like that. I was there. I was in grammar school, getting ready to go to high school.
Real talk now.
We didn't say that. We called ourselves the Outlaws and the Caddy Rangers and the California Boys. There was a group on the south side called themselves the Del Vikings, the Barons, and the Street Kings, and the Speed Kings, and all this other stuff. None of that. That came in 1978 and 79 in a resurgence after the Pontiac riots.
Oh, man.
When they let the brothers go free. And everybody came back to the streets. And then when the resurgence of street nations came again. But remember, they wiped them out in the 60s. They wiped out Jeff Ford and Bobby Gore. And after they got that money, see, each one of them groups had $1 million. That's a whole other story with the LSD, Lord Stones and Disciples. They were given these grants. And they had to neutralize these groups because they could never have the rise of the people. When the people rise, it will neutralize what they do. And just like I said, to put up is to put down. As above, so below. So the people need to be put down. Can't have the people's energy up.
Absolutely.
The system has to always be on top. When the people get on top, there's no use for the system anymore.
Real talk, man. Government fall, man.
Free thinkers.
That's a heavy piece of work, man. Like you say, it's a continuation of what's always been going on, man. The power struggle has always been going on. It's just continuously changed hands, and the rituals have still been allocated at the minds of the people, man. It's always been put at the minds of the people to keep that balance, man.
Yeah.
Very, very Masonic, man.
And we don't understand. We don't overstand this today. I was going to say understand, but we got to overstand. We got to stand over it so we can grasp it and pick it up. Why music looks the way it looks today. They had to get rid of Tupac. And they had to make it look like Malcolm X. Now, if you know what I'm saying when I say this, Malcolm X murder looked like it was by the hands of the Nation of Islam.
Real talk, man. Very well staged.
Tupac's murder looked like it was at the hands of Puffy Combs and Death Row and the Crips and Bloods. You see?
Yes, I do.
And it's repeated like that. They had to get rid of him because Pac was able to go between the frequency of balance between what you call thug life and the people.
What you call the Gemini.
That's right. And that's just what he was, too. And he was using both dualities of magic. So they had to wipe that out because that was deep.
Look, man, we always put star signs on ourselves, but these are also what they consider sigils as well, man.
Talk about it.
Yeah, man. These things hold particular powers. That's why when we read tarot cards and we do astrological readings and stuff like that, or when the constellations are at certain points in the sky and the planets are starting to align in certain constellations or certain formations, these stuff have different type of energetic pools on our body, man. It starts to become more of a scientific thing. It's metaphysical, but it's scientific as well, man. And when these things line up, man, they have effects on us from the day that we're born, when we're conceived. Those numerological alignments as well align astrologically. And they have all type of effects on the body and the mind, man.
Yeah.
It's very important that we recognize things like that to understand.
You know, we use the word perversion.
Yeah.
Perverted.
Perverted, man.
Meaning in the lowest form.
Real
the
talk.
lowest end. Music, in the era we living in, digital music, is controlled through the spirit of perversion is in the music. It's like an entity. Entities are things that enter you. Deities are things that are outside of you that you worship. I'm going to say that again. An entity is something that gets in you. A deity is something that you worship outside of you. Now these entities in the music, these entities are perversions. These are demon sex spirits.
Yeah, there's some.
This is why all the women twerking. Let me tell you something about the twerk that a lot of people don't know.
Most definitely.
When I first started seeing young people do that, it's a shame when I see old people do it.
Oh,
they
man,
should know
our
better,
generation like
but we don't know. We ignorant. That means we do not know. When I see young people doing it, I started researching it some years ago. What is that? Where do they get this dance from? Do you know that dance is a fertility dance? You can find that in Africa during the reign of Musa in Uganda.
Wow.
Who created the Nyabingi order. Go study this, y'all. The Nyabingi order. I ain't talking about Rastafari. The Nyabingi order, which was a woman's order. They would pass the Ashanti doll around, representing the fertility, the fertile ones. It would be a circle that would gyrate on the outside. That would be older women that gyrated to a middle-aged woman that gyrated again the other way to the youngest babies, and they would pass this womanhood down. And this would take place during the mooning cycle. When if you know anything about menstrual, and you ever had sisters or wives or anything, if you put all the women in the house, all the menstrual cycles line up chronologically.
Yep, it's the power of the moon, man.
That's right.
The lunar cycle.
Okay, so they would go off to a village, and they would do this ritual during that cycle.
Look, man, these are at times where the veil is taken away, man.
All right, so now, how we get to twerk now? Here it is, this ritual dance being put over modern, I'm going to use a Christian word. I ain't no Christian. I'm going to use a word, secular music. Meaning in a circle. Ku Klux again. In a circle, the secular music. And they twerk it. And it's the same dance. It's the same exact dance.
When you see the videos of how they do that ritual still in Uganda, it's the same gyration.
They call it pussy popping.
Straight up. Yeah, real talk.
But we call it that because we don't understand fertility.
Yeah.
So it's called pussy popping because we are perverted.
And look how the perversion has affected the community. Let's take the city of Atlanta, man. Okay? The city of Atlanta. I'm not talking about the state of Georgia. I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about the city of Atlanta. The HIV rate is out of the roof, man. So where when you go down there, you down there want to watch who's touching you, man. Who even lays a finger on you?
You go with that touch again.
You know what I'm saying?
that touch again.
Straight up, a deep revelation, man.
See, we walk around with some spray now.
Hey, man. You know, it's so
that's deep.
Yeah, and look at the rate. Look at how many people gyrate down there or twerk, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's like the capital of it, man.
Well, you know, they used to have Freaknik in Atlanta.
I heard somebody talking about that shop today.
The original Freaknik was college kids getting together. They danced, they drank, they did all the frat party stuff, all the Sigma Phi Rho Gamma Haka Chaka Ching Chang Chang, and all that good stuff,
man. Yeah.
But I like to call it the nigger spirit. Watch it. I ain't use that word. I ain't say no N word, y'all. It's the nigger spirit. It's the spirit. Was put in play down there musically. So now by 1998, it was gyrating. Everybody was coming. Well, nobody there from college no more. It was the streets of America there. The whole streets of America went to Atlanta Wasn't no college no more. They wasn't doing that no more. They was clogging up the highway, gyrating and shooting and gambling and drinking and nasty perversion. And the women wonder why they down there, niggas smacking them on the ass. You had no business down there in that perverted spirit. That's like being in a big ass orgy. If you still cannot go to no orgy and sit your punk ass up there,
sit on the couch, man.
You watching the orgy. You will be, hey, next thing you know, you all in the shit. Goddamn fool. Because the spirit draws you in.
Yeah, man, real
the spirit has a momentum to it.
Straight up, you feel that, man?
Listen, man, you on a skating ring. Let's dive off. You on a skating ring. You think about a skating ring. You go out there, the skating ring, they gone. James Brown playing, they gone. They skating in. Everybody doing the back of the rubber leg and it's moving fast. If you stand there at the wall of the skating ring with a little doorway where you go in and skate, you can feel the momentum go around.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll see people stop, they put their skates on, they ain't warmed up or nothing. They'll come there and dive right in and be gone right with the spirit.
Right, man.
Same thing with the orgies.
Straight up, same way, man. The spirit of perversion, man, there's such a lustful spirit that's out there, man.
So now this lustful demon brings rape.
Yeah.
This lustful demon brings murder.
I'm about to say murder.
Perverted murders. Strangulations, mutilations, things that would occur when it was a devious sexual act that brought it to that.
People getting off to stuff like this, man. This is what gives them that release, man. Wicked.
That's a deep concept, ain't it?
It is, man. It really makes you understand deeper the effects of the music, man. I heard some lady the other day, man. I tell you, I be encountering some crazy folks, man, and the way they be thinking. But people just saying, I can't believe they talking about the music doing this, that, and the other. The music ain't doing that. It's this, that, and the other. And none of this stuff makes sense. It's always so far-fetched to me, man. The minds of the people, the ways of thinking, man. From the older generations to the young.
They're not Lightwalkers.
Yeah,
that's why we Lightwalkers.
That's why we take it there, man.
Well, we're Lightwalkers. I used to talk about this stuff here, man. I talked about demonology in the music way in the early 90s, man. I used to give lectures. People used to say, man, you're crazy, man. What you talking about? I saw it then. I saw Ice Cube and the West Side Connection. What was we connected to?
Real talk.
You see? I saw the ghost of made men with the pentagrams and this. I saw C Murder sitting in a chair with half dead, half him with a pool of blood. Nobody paid attention underneath the album cover. Yeah, he was sitting in a pool of blood with gunshots and gun casings on the ground in the blood and a snake wrapped around the bottom of the chair. Now I ask, who did that picture? If a picture worth 1,000 words, what were they saying with that?
People always tell me that, the artists are not willing participants. They don't know what they're doing, man. If you're taking a photo like that, if you're producing something, if you're part of a production of a record, or if you studio production for music or movie, etc., you know what you're a willing participant in, man, regardless of how you're affiliated with it.
Come on now. You signed the contract.
Straight up, man. You mean you didn't read it?
Snoop told you in a song, he said murder was the case that they gave him. He was telling you he signed the contract.
You understand? Let you know.
And beat the case.
Real talk.
And right now today, big old demon on TV.
Straight
a human demon.
He over there.
Now this deep right here, before we close out. I just said a human demon. Mm-hmm. This is my theory. I don't know about y'all. This is my theory. I don't know about everybody else. This is my theory. There are human demons in the so-called rap game. Not hip-hop. That's not hip-hop. That's rap. Recording artists pretending. You only heard this from me. I'm the one who made that up. Anybody else? You start hearing people say that. Lord Cassius D was made that up long time ago. Rap means recording artists pretending.
Straight up.
In the rap game, there are human demons and there are generated demons through frequency. Right. I think a lot of the little boys that you see ain't real. I think some of that ain't real. I think some of them are spooks and demons. King Von was spooky. He was real, but he was a demon. There are demon children born. Dr. York used to teach this. Yeah, I said Dr. York. Can't forget about Malachi Z. York. I don't care what nobody say about him. He taught that he was for real. He had this thing where he talked about the demon child. He talked about the duality of children. The highest form of child and the lowest form of child. You would call into your family, you would say, oh, he's successful, but he's the black sheep.
Black sheep, that's what they say. The eyeball, man.
Even when they said it, they dropped the voice. No, the eyeball is in between. That's something different. The black sheep is the one that's never going to succeed, according to people. The black sheep is the one that is destined to fail. Jail, hell, or wherever else they send them. Under the ground.
Real tough.
And some of these rappers they've created, they not real. These are spirits.
Real tough.
These are spirits.
You could see it.
Yeah.
In these cats, man.
Yeah.
I want to say something, man. We think about the record labels, man. The people that are in control of the creation of these particular artists, man. If we know that magic can be done all over the world, man, and when you have enough power to conjure this magical spell, man, you could create, like you said, create entities to inhibit bodies of particular babies that are being born, people that are being born, because especially the virgin youth, fresh out the womb.
And they opened 5G.
Real talk.
5G is virtuality.
Totally susceptible to it, man.
1970s, there was a group called the Fifth Dimension.
Straight up.
Now, that's not no coincidence. Their name was the Fifth Dimension. Marilyn McCool, Billy Davis Jr. I mean, the other person. There's 5 of them. Fifth Dimension.
The song name ain't no coincidence.
They had a song. They hit record was "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius." And you know, we always say we're in the Aquarian age now. 2023 is the pinnacle of the alpha. Let me change my wording. Let me use a better word. The alpha, the beginning of the Aquarian age. 2 and 3 is 5 and 2 is 7. We just left the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius.
Enlightenment, awareness, conscious awareness.
And it is a feminine era.
True.
An age.
An energy of it.
And a water flow era. It's just like some girlfriends I done had all over the damn place.
It's very symbolic in Freemasonry, because when you see in Freemasonry, they do the circle square, man. And if you keep on creating the circle square around it, you'll start to get these little peaks of where the corners of the square peek out of the circle, and then eventually it'll be totally confined inside of the circle. And we're in an age right now where that unbalance is still there, but coming into the age of Aquarius, it's even closer to the balance. So it's kind of like the peaks and troughs of life or civilization. You have times where all civilizations reach a peak, and then they eventually collapse because they became overly powerful. And we're getting ready to we're getting ready to hit the bottom of that trough, and then we're getting ready to rise up to the peak, man. So it's very symbolic of what you're talking about in Freemasonry.
Now, 5G is one of the highest forms of technology that the brain can stand. We are virtual. Virtual.
I could feel it in my brain.
Now, remember, when the phones was 1G, getting to it, we held the phone. Yeah, hello. All right. We was able to text a little bit. Then we went to 2Gs. 2Gs gave us some more power when we stayed on it a little longer. About 4Gs, we was always on it. 5Gs, people can't get off of it.
Everybody looking down.
They don't have fun no more. The whole world is in the computer, in the black mirror.
I see it in the younger generation, the youth, man.
And programmed to it. Programmed
already.
Ain't no social dynamic of humankind like that no more. No touching or no real conversations. Now, I had a girlfriend one time. She would talk to me. I'd be over her house all evening. We done ate, smoked, kicked it, and she never had a conversation from me. Just, are you all right, Cash? Okay. Unless I got started something. I don't like to talk all the time. I talk enough. Sometimes I like to cut it off and let you talk. And I listen.
Yeah, man.
And that's all she would say. You all right, Cash? And she would wait till I get home and send me 100,000 text messages.
Strange, my brother.
Her communications and text messages.
Straight up, man.
A way to hide behind the words, which is a spell itself too, with the spelling of it.
You understand?
Now she's able to say stuff that she can't express because they are taking the human emotion of socializing out of her.
Man.
And since the pandemic and social distancing, y'all didn't hear that, did you? That wasn't about you standing up. How you gonna stand 6 feet back if somebody cough? If somebody cough,
gonna do? You
They
know what
had
I
a
mean?
movie called Outbreak, and they showed this guy coughing the show. And all these particles flew out of his mouth and surrounded in the show and multiplied in the air, the oxygen. And everybody come down with it. The monkey flew or whatever that was on Outflame. Now, you're going to stand 6 feet behind me with a mask on. You ain't washed your hands. See, they ain't tell us put on no gloves.
You ain't washed your clothes.
They did nothing. Wash your clothes or nothing. And you expect us to believe? Well, we did.
Come on.
I ain't gonna say they expect us to believe it. We did.
We did, man. We fell for it.
Which
is part of the magic.
I'm gonna quote them Christians. I quote these Christians, man. I know y'all don't be there. Well, you're a white man book. I don't care. I'm gonna be quoted. It said, "The great serpent, for he shall deceive the whole world."
Speaking of the serpent, brethren, this is something that I just came to.
I'm going to run out of here because I got some deep talk.
Think about in Native American culture, Lakota culture in particular, out of the Badlands, like Dakota areas and such, you know. And they talk about the two animals or beings that represent, you know, the dualism in life, man. The connection to the highest of the high and the lowest of the low. The ego
as above,
so below.
Okay, finish up.
The ego happens to be like the symbol of higher heights, man, connection with the Most High. And the serpent or the snake happens to be the connection with the lowest.
Crawling on its belly.
Because it's on its belly, on the surface of the world, man. You know what I'm saying? On the ground. The ground is supposed to be the lowest of the low. So it was very deep. I just wanted to chime that in because we were talking about, the serpent revolving around.
We got to go back. One day we'll go back for Lightwalkers deep and really get into the story of the serpent.
Yeah, man.
And how they gave it that and everything, the wing guards and the different things. That's something coming up soon.
Absolutely, man.
But that's deep. You tied it in with it because it go with it.
Absolutely, man.
And we use a lot of these symbols on our bodies now.
Oh, man. People got them tatted all over the place, man.
They don't understand. People putting tattoos on themselves that have nothing to do with them at all.
Straight up, man. These things are sigils as well, man. Powerful sigils.
I watched in the early 2000s the death clothing. I just call it death clothing. They had all these shirts and pants and stuff. Young people wearing with all these gothic symbols on them and all these evil-looking Morse type symbols and different things.
Absolutely. Make you scratch your head about it, brother.
And now in the tattoo era, look at everybody with the skulls all over them and all the stuff. And this goes to my people out there that claim that they, with all the Egyptian or the Kemite, so-called Kemite tattoos, the Eye of Heru. We wearing that, talking about that's something good. You don't know what that is. That's called the Wajet. It ain't called no Eye of Heru. It's called the Wajet. And it's a pentacle symbol of magic.
Exactly, brother. Something that Aleister Crowley used. You know, Aleister Crowley did a ritual inside of the pyramid of Giza.
Yeah.
And utilized a lot of his symbols in his text in Thelinia came from this, man.
And he symbolized, he went to the room called the Holy of Holies, and he symbolizes the wise ones. Who were the wise ones? He summons Yoda, the Yoda, the same character that you see in Star Wars appears in Freemasonry. Study, y'all. You're going to look it up. Don't take my word. I got HIV.
Straight up. Check
Have
it out,
my
man.
information verified.
Got to, man. Because it's heavy, man. It can be spooky, man. It's real.
Let's get down. You know, we get down.
Knowledge.
We get down. We Lightwalkers. We get down. Y'all want to join the Lightwalkers? We do the knowledge. We do the knowledge. So when you see our podcast come on, our broadcast, that's what I like to really call it. I want you, we from a group called Take Note Productions. So you better get your notebooks and write it down because you got to know who you're dealing with. These people watch your children. You know, I'm saying that because I go back to the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes.
Blade, man.
In the movie Blade, there is a scene in the first Blade where the lady got bit.
Oh, man, yeah.
Remember the lady got bit? Yeah. Chris Christopherson told her, you take this 38 with you. And she said, what am I going to do with this? He said, use it on yourself when you turn into one.
Real talk, man.
He said, they everywhere. They watch our children. They fix our food. They service our cars and our homes.
And you don't even
they handle our money. And when she went out, she started seeing the symbols on their neck. Remember, everybody had a symbol on them. They represented that. entity.
Absolutely, man.
That means that an entity had moved into them.
Real talk, brother.
You see?
Blade was a deep movie, man.
Yeah, well, I had everybody go back and watch it. That was deep.
Yeah, it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers almost, man.
Yeah, that was deep.
That's another good
That's a whole nother lesson. But he symboled Yoda. He symboled that what they told you held the force. What was the force?
What was the force, man?
It was the higher self and the lower self.
Real talk.
Darth Vader was a force, was orange. Luke's was blue gold or blue white. The color of noise on TV.
Wow,
man. In its highest form. And that's what they call angel ore. Darth Vader's was orange, representing the fire. The red chakra, the bottom, the perversion. His ship was called the Death Star.
Wow.
And it was dark energy. And it was here on the planet to do battle the forces of good and evil.
Straight up.
Now, Aleister Crowley was messing with that. You know, they was afraid of him. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was terrified of him, man. They wasn't going to mess with him, man. Whatever he said went.
He was a smart cat too, man.
He gave a society, life. You see? And it was called the Order of the Golden Dawn.
Straight up, man.
All his students, Madame Blavatsky, I forget the guy name, and many others that was in it. Madame Blavatsky was a head witch. Yes. She was a spiritual, what they like to call an oracle. One who goes between the dimensions.
Yeah, man.
Their symbol was a snake chasing his tail, but he caught his tail in a complete circle. This is what Ku Klux comes out of. They were using the same type of application, the circle. That's why whenever you see a witch's thing on the ground with the pentagram, it's a circle around it. It protects everybody inside of it.
Exactly. They say nothing could break it, man.
You stand inside. Anything on the outside is subject to whatever's conjured. The word we got, conjured. You see? They were afraid because the European, when he started using this type of magic, and he went to places like Haiti, there was another force that was dark too.
Who, Papa Legbo?
The whole Orisha gate.
They say Papa Legbo was like the big spirit that they would chant. They call it the big black man.
And Baba Sunday, the Lord of Death.
There you go. Thank you, man. I was trying to think of the other one.
The Lord of Death. Wow. Is what Bookman and them sound. I forget the sister. And they always get Bookman. He was a witch doctor, but there was a sister. I forget her name. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all got the name? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
This all has connection to blues music, man.
See, and Haitians, when they summons that for the Haitian Revolution, what beat the European, the French, was the sciences that they had, the arts, the dark arts. The dark arts wasn't no keys. See, our people, we got it all messed up. When we be trying to do stuff, we think everything is nice. We think ancient Egypt was all good. Everybody was good. Come on, man. 90% of the pharaohs was evil.
Nobody ever talks about the dark side. They always talk about the light, but you have to acknowledge that, man.
Man. You see? So, when we start talking, these entities and spirits are all over the planet. All over the planet.
Yeah, they've been broadcasted worldwide, man. So like you said, it's not just affecting us here at home, man. It's affecting all of our people worldwide, man.
So, in our solutions, our first solution to this, we like to give solutions before we close out. Our first solution in this is that you get you a notebook when you see this podcast.
Straight up, man.
And you begin to take notes. And any other knowledgeable podcasters or shows or DVDs that you watch, don't just watch them. Take notes.
Yeah. Continue on the research.
So that you know who you fighting. You know what you up against.
Straight up.
Just like that man said in that movie. They fix your food. They do everything. They make the soft drinks like that Monster Energy with the claw scratching on it. Man, you might never drink none of that. That's spooky.
Yeah, man.
What's in that can? With a claw that had a can up like that.
Cocaine, man.
Yeah.
And that that thing killed a few people.
Oh man, they had a beer in the 90s, during the 1990s, and they had the LA riots. I was in New York City, up in Yonkers, New York, and they had this beer that they was promoting in the East Coast called Crazy Horse. Wow. It was a 40-ounce with an Indian hollering on it, like this. Man, that shit was 80% damn near alcohol, man.
Whoa, man.
That shit was stronger than Old English 800. That was cracking the bottle.
Yeah,
that was a spirit that was, and it wasn't ale. Ale is an ancient drink. Ale is an ancient drink made from hops and barley in its fermentation. Alcohol is a chemical. Before that, it was all called fermentations or elixirs. Now, we're drinking this hell in a bottle. That's what it is.
Straight up, man.
It's a spirit. It's called malt liquor.
Man.
What's in the malt?
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
It shows that a whole lot of brothers in hell and jail.
Straight
up. When I say send you to hell, I ain't talking about no hell with no man with no pitchfork. I'm talking about hell in the head and the soul into wherever you lay off and rot somewhere. It did.
You feel it. That's for sure. We see it.
Like we just talking about Fat Joe with the symbol. You know,
these guys are putting a spell out,
and they show you that all of this spirit game is real. Do you know the bourbon and brandy game, cognac game had died? It was dying. The cognac game started dying in the 1990s. That form of alcohol.
That's true.
Edgar Rockman, who owns Sigham's Gin, who also owns Interscope Records, in cahoots with some of them other players at the table. They invested in that. And the rappers put out the songs, Pastor Cavassier.
Straight up,
Busta Rhymes.
That was
Ain't that Busta Rhymes in them?
Yeah, Busta Rhymes, Puff Daddy.
Okay. You had another one on the West Coast, Gin and Juice.
Wow, man, you put a lot of things in perspective.
And it rescued the alcohol companies, the spirit games.
Straight up.
And it was sold into young people on a heavy doses. Smoking on, I'm rolling down the street, smoking on Indo, sipping on gin and juice. Whatever it was saying, the word sound, it created all these people partaking in this spirit.
Yeah, everybody.
And you wonder why all the murders was taking place.
Sure, man. Because of the spell that was placed upon the people through that, man, through substance.
That's a deep concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a deep concept. That's a real deep one there, y'all.
It's a heavy piece for the people this evening time, man. You know, we went deep on them, man. Hit them up one time hard in the head.
You know what? We ain't gonna stay on here too long. We like to say this to Lightwalkers, y'all. Tonight, either 7 or 8 o'clock, we'll send it out, the notifications to you, and let you know who, where it's coming, when it's coming, how it's coming. Also, we got another Lightwalkers live broadcast. Y'all missed the last one. You got to be in this new one. We're about to have a whole different thing. We're gonna take this to the handle and to the max of what we're doing. Remember, we are Take Notes Productions. So the next time you get on and you're a Lightwalker, bring your notebook, take some notes. I want you to go home and study and get your studies on. And join us at Ancient Mystics. Look for our products, Ancient Mystics, all natural products. And join us on Instagram at Ancient_Mystic_Inc. Look for the School of the Ancient Mystics. Coming springtime in April, we're going to be announcing the classes and what we're going to be doing with that, our trips and different stuff that's coming up. And just keep walking in the light. This Lord Cassius D.
And the good brother Chris Lyon, man.
We out. Peace. Lightwalker.